Hey there, welcome back to the Path to Zion podcast, where we are rediscovering the ancient way. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program. Part two of another audio-only, very brief episode as we springboard off of part one, which was examining the prayer service that unfolded just yesterday here when I'm recording this. And just the concern that I have about this assimilation and drawing in of all religions and all cultures and all people groups, and this bait that is being tossed out and gobbled up by the masses of this false unity under this banner that is sweeping the nation and everywhere else you look right now. A lot of things are very interesting. I had a dear friend send me a link today of a video I'm not going to get into, that also from a much different angle and a whole lot different platform than I have here, saying a very, very similar thing, which is, look, you better wake up and take off the scales from your eyes, because there's stuff going on behind the scenes that if you knew was happening, you would say, well, I had no idea that's what's going on. I thought this was great for America. Friends, we've got to be alert. The word of the hour, the word of the year here on our program, this little tiny speck of dust that it is discernment, discernment, discernment. We've been talking about that for years, especially ramped up here in the last season or so of recordings. Today, as we talk about very briefly, One Nation Under Gods, this is part two, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday's events that unfolded after we commented in part one of what took place already about the whole inauguration and the prayer service and all the stuff, all the festivities. And if you have any kind of media at all in your life, you know very clearly that if you turn on your TV screen, presumably, and watch news, if you open your browser, if you open up your Facebook, if you put on whatever app that you use, you will very likely see something referencing the specifics of who attended this celebration yesterday. Now, you had multi-billionaire celebrities of all kinds. You had actors, performers, comedians, professional fighters, wrestlers, podcasters, sports figures, CEO and tech giants, foreign diplomats. You had people that we won't name slashing Masonic symbols, self-proclaimed prophets. All are gathering for a unified endeavor, a celebration that, quote, their team won. Of course, there were others that were there present that would be considered as enemies. And if you ever listen to me say one word in the last 10, 12, 15 years now of putting stuff out in the open, I believe they all have coffee and laughs before they go up there and tell us how they hate one another, but that's for another day. But we know that, of course, it was announced before all of this unfolded. The weather was cold. So where was the perfect place to host such a gathering? Well, underneath the apotheosis of Washington that depicts the idolatrous origins of this nation, and how the gods deified and endowed Washington with their supernatural powers. Of course, this was perfect. A perfect setting, don't you think? All of this was overseen by the wonderful statue that is one of the primary features of the Capitol Rotunda. If you have watched our other video that walks us through all this idolatry, the goddess Libertas, may know her as Minerva, depending on what channel of idolatry you want to flip through. She does what? She, of course, is known to bring America freedom by her powerful hand. She's in the background of almost every photo and little video shot that you see. Not happenstance. This is all just over-examination, though, right? Well, despite all of this and so much more that would literally take me hours to compile, people think I'm just being over-dramatic about warning everyone who will listen that the assimilation and unification, it's not coming, it's here. And it's going to be coming in much greater measure. The rest will all fall in line in proper time. It is literally a matter of time for the masses to gobble this up more and more, and people will, I believe, push this agenda to no end. It's biblically prophesied. It's right underneath our noses, too, is the thing that really gets me the most. Secular, religious, Gnostics, atheists, evangelicals, all will buy into the deception. People, I'm telling you, friend, people who right now would say and mean it to the deepest recesses of their hearts, they would say, I would never endorse X. I would never support the LGBT movement. I would never allow that in a church service. I'm telling you. But friend, I'm begging people to consider the things we see now that are normal. People said what I just said, tongue in cheek. They just said that 5 years ago. They just said that 10 years ago. Which, without getting into it, is why we're always doing the biblical studies that we're doing here on the channel, to show these biblical patterns that until people listen to the words of Yahweh through the prophet Jeremiah, and until they stand at that crossroads and they look left and they look right and they choose the ancient good way, until they do that, we will continue this trend. Only those who will continue to look back to the wonderful blessing of the commandments of Yahweh Elohim, who is perfect and right, and gave his perfect ways to live to man for his set-apart people, only then is there any chance for us to be spared from what is ahead of us as a nation. It's the only thing that will be the remedy, the cure. We know it is prophesied. All of these will buy into this great deception. And friend, I'm just going to remind you what I repeat a lot here on the program. Deception, by very definition, is something you don't see. It's something you don't recognize, that many times you need told by someone else and identified by another to even say, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I didn't see that. That is, by very definition, what deception does. As I highlighted in the first part of this little audio series here, many people will, I would say, arrogantly just say that none of this is really what I say it is. It's impossible. And you will, what I said at the beginning of that one, this is a golden calf topic, that so many people have been able to leave so many things behind. But this one hurts. This one is a tough one for many, many people. I understand that. I'm not insensitive to that. But I say because of that, it is something that needs to be highlighted and at the very least placed out here in a limelight and just let it ride. Maybe there will be one who will look at this and say, you know what? I don't like it. It hurts. It makes me angry. It makes me mad. It makes me want to put my fingers on the keyboard and tell this guy off. But what if he's right? What if, just what if any of this is true? Now, here's the bad thing about this. Specific to yesterday and this gathering of this prayer service stuff, okay? Please listen to what I'm saying. How in the world do those who pull the strings of all this stuff how do they keep all the evangelicals distracted and riled up even when their man just won the game? Well, you throw in a female LGBT speaker that, quote, spews woke messages that they know the red hat wearers hate. And all of a sudden, again, even in the victory party, there's a fly in the ointment. You understand how easily that's all I've been seeing now today. She doesn't really know the Bible. Nobody agreed with her. And all, it's that simple, friend. It is that easy. Am I saying I agree with one word she said? Not really. That's not the point. The point is all of these things are fabricated and formulated to deliver to the people. And if you're not careful, friend, you're going to be swept away in the oceans of deception. Mission accomplished. It happens too easy, even when they're elated now, cheering, applauding, like losing their minds. Just one little click of the switch, and they're incited to anger. It really is, regrettably, that easy. Look over here, people. Look over here. There's always a distraction. And sadly, the masses always buy it. So just like the post that I did yesterday, just like part 1 that we just recorded a couple minutes ago, talking about the forthcoming unification of all religions, it's found here as well, friend. It's right here front and center. It's things that you hate today, things you loathe today, evangelical Christian. Because of the pattern we're on, because of the indoctrination of dispensational doctrine, your children and your grandchildren are going to say, why not? Why not? If that offends you, then friend, it's already happening. It's already going on right now. This is nothing new. This is something that's just in the limelight for today. This is nothing new at all. This is normal. This is acceptable. The unification is coming. Just like yesterday's highlighting that we did, it's all the same. Some just take more time to assimilate than others. The masses will get sucked into the message of unity and purpose. And the lure of making gas cheap and everything you want easier always wins out for the majority. I don't care what your belief system is. I've heard people say, I think Trump is the biggest jerk on the earth. I don't care. I'm getting cheaper gas. Friends, let us be better. Let's not worry about being great again. Let's be better. Let's be godly, set apart, holy, consecrated people that are journeying through this Babylonian nation aware of her ways. What is your plan to be sure that you won't be drawn away with the masses as this gets turned up over the next days, weeks, months, and years? What is your plan? How have you set things in motion in your life to rightly discern the spirits, to know what the Father's saying, to know what agrees with the Word? What is your process? To know what you ingest, to know what you embrace, to know what you believe and why. Do you have a process in place, friend? I hope that you do. I want to encourage all of us to come out now. We see in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, while they're saying peace and safety, sudden destruction will come upon them like labor pains upon a pregnant woman. And friends, they will not escape. Do not let the they be you. Do not arrogantly assume that the ones marked for judgment is everybody over there and not you or not me. We must be sure, certain that we are set apart, holy, consecrated people, and we are not gathering together under this false unity, one nation under God's. You've been listening to the Path Design Podcast, where we are rediscovering the ancient way. Thank you so much for listening alongside today. We'll see you next time. Amen.